In this video, I'll wash off the key block, show you how I make transfer sheets, and print each color layer until the design is complete. I hope you enjoy this process of woodblock printmaking. Now, let's get started. I'd like to continue from the last video by taking a step backwards and show you how I wash off my wood blocks. I start by misting the blocks with a spray bottle. Then I scrape off the Gampi paper. I wash off the glue with my trusty shoe brush. After the block is fully dried, it's ready for printing. I get a lot of questions about transfer sheets, so I'd like to show you quickly how I make them. I start by cutting the Gampi to the exact size. Then I spray copy paper with a repositionable adhesive. I'm using Scotch spray mount here. Just a few light coats is all you need. Then I press the Gampi onto the glued surface. Starting from the center, I smooth and work out the Gampi flat towards the outer edges, making sure not to leave any folds or creases. This is now ready to be printed on for the color block transfers. Now, I'd like to jump ahead and show you how I painted in the green shapes for the pine trees. The image on the left side of the easel is the test print that I made from all the color blocks and the key blocks. I printed them using water-based inks or Mokuhanga to make sure everything was lining up. I first painted in the general shapes that I wanted on this test print on the left. Once I was happy with the general block in, I then painted it again on a transfer sheet. This is the sheet that's on the right. This is similar to how it was done in traditional woodblock printmaking in Japan, before we had computers, iPhones, and inkjet printers. Here I'm gluing down the same transfer sheet that I just finished painting. And here is the completed carving for this color block. I'm going to be printing the sky color, and I'll also be printing a base color for this rock feature here. Now both of these sections are cut on this Shinna piece of plywood. So this is the sky shape. It will be doing a gradation from like a cobalt blue and fade it down towards the horizon with a lighter value. And same thing here, it's going to be a neutral gray, maybe a little bit cooler at the bottom to a little bit warmer at the top, but I would like to include a little bit of a gradation and variation in that. And now this is a very rough test print that I use just with Mokuhanga or water-based pigments. But for this project I realized I want to use oil-based pigments because I like to maybe create a couple different variations of this. Maybe one of the day time, summertime, and then one of maybe a night scene with a moon. And it just so happens to be so dark in New York City today that we have a full moon out joining us for the video today. So I needed to put this light on above me just because it's so dark outside. It's October 8th and it's finally raining this fall, and it is just pouring rain out, and we really needed the rain. It's been very dry. But for now, let's get started on mixing this first color, which will be the sky color. So let's start mixing these colors up. I also want to show you the paper. The paper I'm choosing for this project is a Kitakata, and it has a natural tone to it. So this beige or natural warm color is going to be showing through. So I'm going to be using some transparent base with these pigments and keeping it very transparent for this layer. So the yellow of this paper, the beige color of this paper, will really affect the blue color that I'm trying to create with the sky. So I'm trying to keep that in mind, that this is the base tone that all my colors will be laying upon. Let's get started by squeezing out some pigments. I start by mixing up a general blue color that I will modify with white to create a value gradation. So I have a piece of scrap paper. This is the paper we're going to be using, and we can just see what this color looks like. Just scrape a little piece on there, and then we can judge and see if we like that color. This paper has no size in it, so it's really going to soak it up quickly. I can see it now. It's absorbing the ink. So let's try. We can always do a second impression on top of the first one if it's not what we like. So this is a decent amount of ink for the top color. Here I start to make a second and third blue value to create the gradation. I add more cobalt blue to tint it darker and titanium white to tint it lighter at the horizon. I add some transparent base to each color. My goal is to keep all the colors in this print semi-transparent. I'm trying to replicate or create a similar effect as a traditional Mokuhanga print, but with oil-based inks or Western printing inks. So as you can see, I have the dark, the medium, and the light colors right up next to each other. It's going to fit my roller pretty well. I can clean up this palette now because I'm done mixing on this. So I think I'm just going to work this top portion. I could do this one at the same time, but just because I'm limited on space here on my palette, I'm going to do the sky first. I'll clean that area away and then I'll work on this. So let's roll out this ink. Just do this slowly. Keep dipping back into the ink a little bit at a time. To really get these colors to blend, you can just kind of crisscross it a little. That's a decent sound. You can tell that this is a proper amount of ink on the roller just by the sound of it. Now let's apply it to the block. Because this is the first layer of ink going on the block, it's going to take a couple applications. This roller is a little bit small for the shape that I'm covering, the sky shape, but that's alright. Just reapply the ink onto the roller. I'm always going to start at the top. And then I'm going to work my way down to the lighter area, the horizon. So again, this is a warm, natural Kitakata. It's a thin paper. It's going to be tricky to get down for the first couple because it's a little warped from being stored in a roll. So I'm just going to fold this down very carefully. I'm going to be using a Baron for this, so I need a cover sheet. I'm just going to gently rub this whole area with this ball bearing Baron. I'm not pressing too hard, but I'm making sure I evenly put pressure across the whole surface. Let's see if we can see the ink coming through. And yes, we can. So there it is. So let's peel this up carefully. We don't want to bend or fold this paper. And there is our first impression. Now we can judge if the color, or we can decide if the color is what we're going for. And I think this is a beautiful blue gradation. Will be the first impression for our print here. Much different than this test piece, as you can see. I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to keep going with this, and we'll just do all 15 sheets. All right, welcome back. We are now printing the second impression. We finished with our sky impression yesterday, and we're going to be printing the rock area today, which is this section here. So here I have mixed up a gradient of gray, and it'll be going from dark at the bottom to lighter towards the top. And for that we'll be using a larger roller. So let's start with rolling out this ink. That's good enough for me for now. So let's apply that ink to the block. This is a large roller, and it's a smaller area that we're working on. We're not going to need tons of ink today. So let's take the first impression. Being very careful to get the paper in the registration accurately. We'll peel this off slowly and have a look. And there's our rock surface. It has a little bit of texture on it, but I like that. To help move this along, I printed the purple base tone for the ground plane off camera. Just want to compare the first two, make sure that the registration is looking the same. And there's a black key block that's going over these edges of these trees, so these white areas will be covered with black. You can see the difference between this first one and this one here in the rock. I added some texture in this rock area. Again, I printed this small orange area with a small gradation, which is the top of the rock cliff. Let's see how that looks. We have a nice green ground plane, nice gradation. That purple color still in the distance. I printed a few subtle green gradations for the pine tree block. This is the block that I painted in the beginning of the video. Here is another gray gradient that represents the shadow mass in the rock feature. All that's left is the black key block. Alright guys, welcome back. We are now printing the final layer on this print here of the Gunks. So this layer is called the key block, and it's the black outlines. And I actually started this design with carving this block and transferring this image to transfer sheets. And then I glued those transfer sheets down to the wood surface. I carved the shapes that I needed from the key block, and now I'm going to go back and print this on top of the very last impression that will finish this print. This is exactly how you would make a mokuhanga or water-based Japanese woodblock print, but the only difference is I'm using oil-based pigments here. These are inks that are oil, and that's the reason why I'm printing this black color last, because I want it to sit on top of all the color blocks that I've already printed. Before we print on here, why don't we do one just on a plain white sheet. This is on a different kind of paper. It's called Awagami Bamboo Select. And let's just see what the, before I start, I have to make sure I have this tape here so that I can see. And I had a smudge there. I have to make sure I clean these areas. Because this paper is thicker than what I'm using over there, I'm going to use a ball bearing. Just evenly apply pressure across the whole surface. So let's slowly peel this up and have a look. And there we have it. So this is how I started the design, by carving this and then transferring this or gluing it down to the block. So these are the shapes and the outlines that I had to work with from the beginning. And this was a sketch that I made in my sketchbook. So you can see all the hatching, and I tried to carve the quality of the marker lines that was in my original sketch. I think I did an okay job. So now, let's ink one onto our final print. And this will complete this design. Carefully put that in the registration marks. For this thin paper, I'm using a traditional mokuhanga baron, a hone baron. Now let's see what we have. There you have it. Finished woodblock print. I plan on doing another second color scheme. Let's move this block out of the way for a second. I plan on doing a second color scheme for this print. I really enjoyed this because I have all the blocks cut for this now, so I can easily make another color scheme. I'm going to do one that's a little bit more gray, some more somber tones, some cool greens and blues. And I'm going to do another one, a third one, where I'm going to cut a moon in the sky somewhere and have it be a nighttime or a nocturne scene. A lot of blue and purples. So I want to experiment with this composition again. I like the format, I like the vertical format, and because I have all the blocks cut, I can continue to make new color designs, new color schemes for this one. So I'm excited to do that and experiment a little. All of these videos are documented on my live streams. So if you go to my YouTube channel and you click on the live streams, I have all of these videos documenting each step of the way. So if you're interested in this kind of printmaking, be sure to check out my live streams, and all of the replays are on there documenting this print. concludes another project. I appreciate everyone following along. Thank you for watching my videos. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and find me on Instagram. Thanks a lot, I appreciate it. Bye-bye.